Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show special Whodunit edition. I'm your host, Rob, here with RDV on this Christmas week. We have a special that we're bringing up to everybody tonight, and it's a Charlie Brown Christmas murder. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. And to repeat myself, a Charlie Brown Christmas murder. We're going to take a deep dive into Charlie Brown. What would Charlie Brown look like today? How would some of those characters be in today's world? Who would be the person that murders Charlie Brown? And Doctor, before we get a deep dive going into this, as people are showing up here on the Xtreme Movie Show, I just want to simply say the one rule I have, and why this is being an adult-themed conversation, which we typically don't have here on the Xtreme Movie Show, the one rule for a Charlie Brown Christmas murder, sir, is the dog does not die. Because I'm tired of dog violence in movie, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, who murdered Charlie Brown? That'd be a mystery. And I'm thinking, like, everyone's a suspect, even freaking Snoopy.
Snoopy could very well be a suspect. So let's take a look at this whole setup here for our Charlie Brown Christmas murder. So obviously, Charlie Brown Christmas is, to me, the greatest Christmas, warm fuzzy that somebody could watch. And there's a lot of them that we talked about last week here on the Xtreme Movie Show that we thought were really good. I know you're a fan of Tim Allen, and you like the Santa Claus and some others, and I've liked a few others too. Even Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer I think is fantastic. But with the Charlie Brown Christmas murder, you and I were talking a little bit backstage about some ideas, and one of the things that's been frustrating for you and I over the past year or so here on the Xtreme Movie Show is we have to feel like we have to watch what we say in terms of not getting shadow banned or demonetized. And it's the same predicament that other YouTubers have. But since we're a small growing channel, we're not quite there yet. I think you and I have been doing a very good job of being, in particular, not really using language, not being too explicit, sexually speaking or adult theme wise. We've had fun with what we've talked about, but we've not gotten into the whole adult version of stuff. And I think that was kind of bothering us, especially with some really gory graphic stuff that we like, maybe on Kicking It or the Too Extreme Horror Show. But for Charlie Brown, it really struck me that, what? Charlie Brown is one of those few franchises that's out there that's been around a long time, that hasn't been 100% completely watered down, and still is, I think, extremely popular today. Would you agree with that?
I'd say the film is still good. Quickly before I answer the rest of my thing, what's going on, Jim?
House. Yeah, it's good.
Jim Sorensen here. Yeah, I mean, Charlie Brown is like crack to everybody. It's like it's here's a Charlie Brown coming on ABC. I gotta watch it. Sit down. It's either you watch there or you watch football. It's like if it airs at the same time, people are gonna watch Charlie Brown. And it's a family thing, Maybe if you're a single guy, maybe you might not watch it. You might go watch a football game or whatever you want to watch instead. But I mean, Charlie Brown is just so nostalgia. It's you watch it as a kid. Now it's on again. As every year at the same time. There's the Thanksgiving. There's also I don't know. Is there a Thanksgiving? I think there's one. I think there's also the Halloween. And then there's this one, the Christmas one. And a lot of people grew up watching this stuff. Now they're older. They're watching with their kids, getting their kids into this stuff, and it's just a family tradition. Now, if Hollywood decided to turn it into like a slasher movie, like reboot it using the concept, they're gonna put on a Christmas. I don't know. They're gonna put on a Christmas play, and then somebody
Fantasy Island it.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, look at the suspects. You got Lucy, who's always hated Charlie Brown. She always pulled the football from under his head.
Well, I do want to do that. I want to talk specifically about the characters in this Christmas episode and talk about each one a little bit. And then maybe at the end, maybe we'll have some theories and as far as who murdered Charlie Brown, and we'll see what comes up to it too, because obviously Lucy is an immediate number one to talk about. So yeah, as people are joining, I just want to remind them here with the Charlie Brown Christmas murder that we're basically kind of investigating that Charlie Brown, he's in his home, he's dead, and we got to find out who the murderer is. And so we're not giving away too many details, and we may not even actually have a concrete answer by the end of this episode, but it was just an idea we wanted to kind of do stream of consciousness and ad-lib it too about it. So Lucy, let's talk about Lucy first. Lucy Van Pelt, as it were, ladies and gentlemen.
Lucy, who's always has a history of giving out advice to everybody, and she's always self-absorbed. Has this always had this little rift between her and Charlie Brown. She just never liked him, She looked down on him. like I said, like, and then she manipulates others. She look with her deal with Linus. Maybe Linus is the killer. Maybe she convinced them Charlie Brown that like stole his blanket. He couldn't find his blankets. You know, he's a 40-year-old man now, or 50-year-old man, and he needs a security blanket. You know, maybe he's got mental issues. You know, just these anxieties and stuff, and you see that Charlie Brown took your stuff. And
well, let's focus just on Lucy real quick, because you have a couple points I need to get into. Let's just assume right now it's a single murderer. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that's advanced, that you could have somebody, you know, in charge of somebody, and I think Linus is the one to obviously go to next. But Lucy immediately comes to mind because she's the one who always puts the football down, and Charlie Brown always, you know, stays positive, thinks he's going to be able to kick it, and at the last minute she pulls away, and she's like, "You never learn, Charlie Brown." But I think you bring up an interesting point, because Lucy is usually, from when I was growing up as a kid, one of the hated ones, and you're right, because she treated him so mean. She'd call him a blockhead. She wouldn't, you know, do her role on the baseball team. I don't remember if she was center field, but I got to give Lucy props. So I'm going to play protagonist and antagonist with you here a little bit on some of these characters, because she was one of the few ones in there that actually did something in a capitalistic sort of way, which I think is pretty good. She took a skill set, charged people 5 cents to listen to their thoughts, or sometimes more. I think it got to be later on maybe a quarter, and she'd put up her little booth, and Charlie Brown was a frequent person. So they did have this like love-hate relationship going on, but they definitely talked a lot together. So I don't know if she hated him, like you said, or she was secretly in love with him.
We don't know that either. And we also don't know that she could be a prime suspect that's with her relationship with him, but what if she didn't do it and somebody's using that as a cover?
All right, maybe it's another jealous female from the crew, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah, yes, because there was 2 other females that did like Charlie Brown, and they have a history of liking Charlie Brown. As far, you know, and they always kind of fight over him a little bit. And now, you know, but I'm gonna get to point or get to the comment here by Jim saying that Lucy is a smug forensic psychologist. I could see her profession, because she could go into psychology and using it to basically embezzle money out of her patients.
Aren't they all smug though, Jim?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so that's Lucy, and you had brought up Linus next, who's like his number 2 man, is best bud, as it were.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not saying Snoopy's not, but Snoopy is the dog, so we'll save Snoopy for last. So okay, so we've talked about Lucy as the potential murder suspect here in the Charlie Brown Christmas murder. So and we're only talking about the characters from a Charlie Brown Christmas special. So there may be some that aren't there, but most of them are. So the codependent needs a blanket Linus, who seems to have some great deal of insight into understanding Charlie Brown's character. Is he a closet homosexual? I don't know. But him and Charlie Brown are buddies. They go around everywhere. They always do the philosophical walk, stop by the brick wall, talk about what's going on. And he's like a nice little soundboard for him. But I agree with you. I think the hardcore, probably pill popper drug user out of the entire group, out of all of them, is him. He just seems like he's a dependent kind of guy. He's got that kind of personality. Maybe alcohol. I'm not sure.
Codependence, like I said, he has a security blanket as a kid. I mean, if they kept the running that theme, you know, he could be someone that always needs somebody to help him out, and maybe he has remember, he has a younger sister, doesn't he? Or is that Charlie Brown's younger sister, Sally?
Sally's the Charlie Brown's younger sister. Yeah.
So maybe as he's older, he's still dependent on Sally, and you know, and Sally being Miss Popular, you know, maybe she got sick of him, you know, and maybe she he said like maybe she's framing him up for Charlie Brown's murder.
Well, but for Linus, do you think
because he might? I could see him having anxieties as an adult, maybe schizophrenia. Who knows? You know, he could just paranoid grand delusions. I could see some, and you know, who could also, like I said, like you could have Lucy could be like, well, I agree, by violation, he's a very prime suspect. Whether she did could have been the murder and printed on him, or just her being a bitch. Like I said, there's so many different suspects, you know, but like Linus is always the one I come back to, because like he is the one, either he's the patsy or he's the guy who did it himself. It's just because he's like Jason.
Well,
he hates people that are better than him.
He's the kind of guy that doesn't necessarily get too upset. He obviously doesn't know how to handle
Oh,
Lucy's advances. Or I'm sorry, Sally's advances. We'll talk about her soon. But the one thing in this Christmas special at the end, Charlie Brown had went and he picked out the tree, and then he woke up on Christmas Day and was murdered, and that's why everyone comments. I see that you joined in. Good evening, Charlie Brown Christmas murder. We're trying to figure out, and maybe we won't have a concrete answer tonight, but we're looking at all the potential murder suspects from a Charlie Brown Christmas on who murdered Charlie Brown when he woke up on Christmas morning next to his little, Christmas Charlie Brown Christmas tree, that little limp thing that he found. And we don't know. We haven't even talked about the actual crime scene yet. We'll save that for later, because right now it's just a suspect rundown, and we're doing a quick little review of that. But for me, Linus was the guy that actually supported him with the blanket and all that. Maybe he's got a jealous or a mean streak in him going, hey, you bastard, Charlie Brown, I did all this damn work. I made people like what you picked out, and it's a piece of crap tree, but I really love you, and don't you see me for who I am? And, maybe the Xanax combination caught up to him or something. I don't know. That and booze would probably make him forget it. Maybe the killer among the group doesn't realize they're the killer. That's another possibility, but I think you're right about Linus being one. And he's a close guy. Usually you look to that inner circle first, and then you branch out. It's usually not a suspect that just comes in and all that too. But Jem says, I see Linus as a conspiracy theorist, and I believe in the Great Bumpkin. He has very strong beliefs that border on cultist, Jim. I do not disagree with that. I think that's a really interesting take. I think you're initially understanding what it is we're trying to do here, and that we're just doing a quick profiling of the people from A Charlie Brown Christmas to see who murdered.
And I think isn't he also German too? He's Linus Van Pelt. I don't know.
That would be Dutch, I think.
And Lucy Van Pelt. So they're sister or brother sister. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Sally, I think we need to talk about next, because you kind of brought her up because she's always got the hots for she not only is she Charlie Brown's sister, she has the hots for Linus. So Sally, cute little blonde, she's always smiling. She seems like a very positive person and a very in a life-affirming way. I see the good in people, and yes, I'm a very emotional person, but very passionate, but she doesn't come across as one that has a mean streak in her. That being said, she's very demonstrative too, so I kind of don't really know what to say about her.
I can say, like I said, people change over time. I mean, as far as Sally, she's tired of Charlie Brown getting the spotlight. Her older brother, even though and she's just tired of him being a blockhead. And she loves Linus, and she knows that she can manipulate Linus into doing her dirty deeds. She seems like someone that might be just all about, not about but me, but more about fame. And she's just tired of her older brother. I mean, we don't know what Charlie Brown is, if he's still the same as he is now, or if he become like a guy who's hung up on like childhood, Remember, because in Charlie Brown Christmas, he's like, I don't want the meaning Christmas. He's freaking out. It's like all that stuff. If he could be another person that just like is just I guess crazy person. We don't know what Charlie Brown is at this point, because we don't know the crime scene and we don't know what his life's been like, which is all speculation. But I could see Sally being one of those persons that basically just tired of maybe taking care of her brother, because her brother's a wash up. And it killed her chances of being a famous actress or model, because she's.
I didn't think of it like that. She's pretty, and she, like I say, she's unassuming, is what it is. You look at her and go, oh no way. She out of all these people.
I understand it. Maybe she did it herself. We don't know.
No, I like what you're thinking with that. I don't have too much to add about Sally. And the only other thing too, and it's probably not relevant, but I'm going to simply say it for the people that listen to the Xtreme classics that we've talked about before, a few Humphrey Bogart films, and we'll be adding more to that this next year. But usually you knew who the femme fatale was back in the old black and white movies, because she was this blonde, and you always had to be aware of the blonde woman. She was going to destroy you, and sexy and all that kind of stuff there too. So Sally fits the femme fatale one, even though she seems unassuming. The unassuming femme fatale, that's what Sally is. Okay, good. Let me check the comments here before we move on to our next suspect. I'm going to stay away from Sally, Jim says. I keep flashing to her robot chicken.
Did not see it, and I don't need to know, but
Okay, so Comic Quirks, I think, might have joined a little bit late. So I'm just giving you the basic outline is Charlie Brown woke up on Christmas Day after his tree. He's dead. So we were trying to take a look at the people that were in a Charlie Brown Christmas and picture them maybe as adults who possibly could be the murderer. Because obviously we don't think a kid's going to be the murderer. So we're just trying to think, between then and now, how that would work out.
Yeah. If you
and the only rule is that Snoopy, well, I'm going to say Woodstock too. Snoopy and Woodstock cannot be the killers because, a lot of people like dog violence and all that stuff in movies today in the world. And it's not a good idea. So the adult version of a Charlie Brown Christmas, you have your own crew from the show. Who's the killer? So we're profiling.
Yeah. Like pretend it's like a slasher film. You see them in the 80s slasher film, kind of like that. It's like
Lucy. We saw to review Lucy. She's the obvious psychologist. She's probably number one suspect. Okay. Then we went to Linus. His Charlie Brown's number one friend. We think he probably would be into some sort of recreational drugs. Probably not because he's an evil guy or whatever, but just because he's codependent. He has those tendencies we've seen when we were younger. We just talked about Sally. We talked about how she's the unassuming person that possibly could do it. Maybe a beauty queen later on and things don't work out for her. And now she's struggling to do whatever. And just a fall from grace type of story or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start bringing up some of the lesser characters, but probably just as important to this story of a Charlie Brown Christmas murder. And that's the one that Lucy, because these little love triangles really can get complicated, she has a crush on a very gifted musician named Schroeder. Plays the piano, likes Chopin, and plays all sorts of stuff. So we know he might be like the Nick Nightingale from Eyes Wide Shut, who was a really great pianist, but just ended up being a gig worker in today's tough COVID economy.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. I've never hated Schroeder, but there was something about him where he didn't seem like he really cared about anybody else. It was only into himself that really pissed me off. And I'm trying to let my own personal judgments of Schroeder cloud this murder mystery. What's your take on Schroeder as a personality?
Schroeder himself, he seems to come up like maybe a perfectionist. You see this in the original cartoon where she's playing the tune, and Lucy's just basically keeps telling him, "Hey, play this Jingle Bells, don't you know play?" And she keeps criticizing him. And instead, if he's a guy who's stuck working at gigs after gig, and he's not as famous, he's kind of like the Richard, the lounge singer guy. He ends up being a dead end job like that where nobody can ever get a famous gig going. He's overlooked. We don't know if he's an alcoholic. Maybe depending on how Charlie Brown died, maybe he did it because he did it for money, or like I said, we don't know if what his reason would be to kill Charlie Brown. But that's the thing though, you never really know because not everybody always shows motive. The big key players we already talked about was Lucy having a motive. Linus, being a guy, he's not too bright. He has security issues. Look, he carries a blanket with him. He's like, 12 years old in the comics or something like that? I don't remember how old he is.
It's probably on work release, too.
Yeah, like I said, there's some... Schroeder, I don't think he would do that, though. But then again, Schroeder is he's quiet. He doesn't really talk much.
The quiet ones you always have to worry about because they have no social grace.
And maybe he's just tired. Oh, you know what? Maybe there's something like them and Schroeder's just tired of Charlie Brown interrupting him when he's trying to play or create a song. He's right up, and in a fit of rage, he's drunk and just kills him. It was an accident, maybe, I don't know. And he sets it up to make it look like it was, just like he wasn't there. We don't know. But the character I want to talk about after Schroeder. Well, if you want to give your thoughts, what his reason would be, but
I think my last thoughts on Schroeder, then we'll move on. Is that Schroeder, to your point, quiet individual, obviously super talented. Obviously, he's not going to be able to get along with the group, but wants to be a part of it. So I think he's got some definite social issues. So he's probably, if he's not in AA, maybe him and Linus are in AA together. I don't know, working through his issues. I think he's also potentially a pill popper as well. And the thing too is being a gig worker like he is. He's always looking for that next buck, but the only potential thing I can think of here is he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would do it and plan it out. It would be more of a fit of rage.
Yes.
see what would happen.
I can see that. I can see that where he's like he's basically him and Charlie Brown talking, and Charlie Brown's whining about. So he's like, you're always freaking whining. You don't, girl. It's always about you, Charlie Brown, never about anybody else. He's like, and I get to see that like in a fit of rage. He just gets killing Charlie Brown. So like but the next character I really want to talk about.
The last thing I was going to say, just because I think it's relevant, and I know I'm trying to play good cop and bad cop, depending on which one you're being, because I think that's how good cops, like we are here on the Xtreme Movie Show, as we're investigating this Charlie Brown Christmas murder, need to be, so we see both sides. The only thing I was going to say is that makes it, I think, him the most confusing suspect out of the four that we've talked about so far is the fact that Lucy would always, chill and listen to him. So I think she actually respected his talent. So I don't know if she might have some influence on him. Maybe if she tried to get him to murder him. But then too, Sally sometimes would screw around with him, and even Snoopy to a little bit too would kind of piss him off too, and he would slam his piano and all that too. So definitely the rage factor is there. I will say that. So we'll just call him Rage Addict. I'm putting my notes down here in my murder log as we go on. Okay, so suspect number 5 from A Charlie Brown Christmas that might be a potential murderer. Who would you like to talk about next?
Pigpen.
Excuse me.
Pigpen.
All right, Pigpen. Pigpen. Describe for people who Pigpen is if they're not.
Pigpen, obviously, he must come from a poor family or something because he's always in a cloud of dirt and everything like this. His parents do not, if he has parents, he was an orphan, we don't know. He doesn't bathe. He seems like a nice guy, but I could see him being older and him just be living on the streets, being a bum. We don't know what his parents. He gets hooked to drugs or whatever he could, or it's all speculation. But Pigpen, like I said, being homeless and Charlie Brown not refusing to put him up, and he gets upset, or maybe he's asking a handout for Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown just it doesn't care anymore. It cuts him off. It's like, hey, I gave you some money to help you get to but you won't better yourself. And he ends up just killing him. I don't know. Or Pigpen, if he's still full of cloud of dust, maybe something he gets dust in there, like it just becomes toxic into everybody else. You don't know if he has a superpower or not, but just that cloud of dust can just choke someone, take the oxygen right out of their lungs.
We are not going to go down the Nancy Drew reboot and make it be somewhat supernatural in its origin. Okay, that this is not the Archie Jughead thing that they've done, and it's getting weird. This is a man-made killing machine, whoever it is out of this group. We don't know how they got that way, but definitely it's somebody from this group. But let me ask you this about Pigpen first, because he's a tough one for me. I don't have too much data on him. You get this kind of like West Virginia Southern kind of white trash vibe to him, because I think we've all seen the poor kid that seems like their clothes are wrinkled, they wear the same clothes a couple of days in a row, and it's not their fault. So you can't blame the kid, but let's be honest, if the kid was cool, you didn't really mess around with him, but he'd be the first one you pick on if somebody did. But I would say this to Charlie Brown's credit, and probably the credit of the rest of the group, he was a part of it, and he didn't really talk that much and all that, but he was definitely active. Shorter would be off in the background playing his piano, but he'd be out there ice skating with the group too. So it's not like he wasn't well liked. So I don't know if Pigpen would be one that just wants to do something to stand out, kind of like the two guys in Scream. They just wanted to make a statement. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Pigpen is like, I have a question mark around him, because he's the kind of guy that you go, well, wait a minute, I ran him through I ran his license plate and nothing came up. And you're like, uh-oh. So maybe Pigpen bottomed out of high school when they all went there and ended up going into military. Maybe he's AWOL or something. Maybe he's got that spec ops training that everybody seems to have these days. I don't know. Maybe he's a Afghanistan.
I like Ronnie's take on him. He sounds like he'd be a homeless war vet. And if he's got shell shock and all that stuff, maybe it's an accident he kills Charlie Brown.
Oh, hoarder. That's potential. Yeah. I don't know if we get the hoarder type. We see that early on, but the dirty unkempt part, it would just be gobs of stuff stacking up, and it'd probably be the daily paper that they have there in their hometown. Maybe bicycle parts. Maybe
or
he had a bunch of bicycle parts because
Maybe
Charlie Brown's family would drive around on the bicycle. Maybe he was just, a collector. Oh, that sounds disgusting, like Leatherface.
Maybe Charlie Brown forced him to take a bath.
Yeah. Tom's bringing up an interesting dichotomy. Not every poor kid in rags grows up to be the poor adult. Maybe he's driving a Ferrari. He's got a 9-inch tool, if you know what I'm saying, and he's kind of hot and wears nice suits, and the ladies love him, and we don't recognize him because sometimes he would dress up and the other guys wouldn't recognize him.
That's true.
Crafty.
Imagine the kid who gets bullied, and he makes himself better, but he comes across that one guy, brings up this horrible childhood memories. And it just triggers him. Somebody snaps, and he just kills him.
Yeah, maybe he's rolling up with the hot lady or something like that, and they're in town just for the Christmas weekend, and then they all get pulled into this whodunit, and then he has to explain to one of his girlfriends that he's taken with him, maybe one he's gonna wife up, and she's like, "I didn't know you were sloppy when you were young." We could do a deep dive on him even more. I didn't realize there's so many layers to Pigpen. My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, let me check the comments here before we move on. We got, I think, 2 or 3 more that we have to consider on a Charlie Brown Christmas murder. So yeah, we talked about Lucy. We talked about that. Yeah, Tiza is what I just mentioned there too. So
Joe Rogers bringing up Peppermint Patty.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about them.
And those two will be considered as far as suspects, because I think it would be a love triangle murder.
Well, let's do the Occam's razor thing and try to keep it to the simplest possible thing there too. But who do you want to talk about, Patty, or do you want to talk about the other one?
Well, let's go with Peppermint Patty. Okay. Peppermint Patty always seems like she's kind of angry all the time.
So?
Well, from the cartoons I watch of her, she seems like not angry, but I mean, she's like, maybe, like I said, like she likes Charlie Brown, but she won't admit it.
I think she does, though. I've heard her many times.
Like I said, I'm not the best person to ask about Peppermint Patty as far as these characters, because I haven't watched these shows in like forever, since like the 90s, man. I don't really go back and go watch this, but from what I remember a little bit is that she did seem like she had a crush on Charlie Brown. But she seems like the person that probably get upset with him, like maybe he doesn't return the advances, So she might get a little upset with him, maybe because maybe Charlie Brown met a girl, and it wasn't Peppermint Patty. She finally got the confidence. She's been waiting for him to ask her out or reply or rebuff her, and he kept rebuffing her advances. So and he finally gets a girl, and Peppermint Patty just snaps. She ginger snaps. She kills him.
No, I said we're not going to keep it. We're going to keep it non-supernatural here. She's not going to turn the werewolf.
Oh no, I'm not saying like that werewolf. I'm just saying ginger snap because she's a ginger.
Oh, okay, that's cute. Well, I'm trying to use, like I say, the Charlie Brown Christmas special as the template, and here she seems kind of.
Dogs do not kill them around here. We're not talking about dogs. That's one of the rules. No Snoopy. Snoopy is not a murderer. There's Woodstock.
Snoopy found the body, T, and that's the problem. So Snoopy started crying, and then everybody that was staying in Charlie Brown's crib came in there, and it's a whodunit. It's like an Agatha Christie. It's one of those kinds of things. And so the suspects are everybody in a Charlie Brown Christmas special, and we're trying to just profile them in their adult lives to kind of see what would happen, because we said, man, what if we took Charlie Brown, put him in today's world, and we made it a murder mystery? What would that be like? Because Charlie Brown to me is the best Christmas special of all time, and yet it's one of those things where I think the genius of Charlie Brown is that it's not written down to kids, but it's written simply in a way that kids will be entertained with it and adults will enjoy it. So I'm breaking character here for a moment just to explain the rules, because this is literally, hey, we hit live and I'm just ad-libbing as we go, but we had the basic idea when we started. So we're going through and we're profiling what the potential adult lives would be. And we don't know, we're not saying they're bad people. Look, if somebody's got a dependency, we're not saying, oh, they deserve to die. We're not saying if somebody has got a great job that, they don't deserve it. We're not being negative that way. We're simply projecting based off characteristics they displayed as a youth in this episode, what might they be like in there. And unfortunately, since a murder's been committed, we have to kind of look on the dark side of some of these characters and look at both sides. And it's tough because when you're profiling, sometimes you have to go with your gut emotionally to kind of let you look and dive deeper into somebody's character and then start establishing some facts, which we haven't. So again, it's just a topical quick one that we wanted to do tonight here in lieu of the Top 10 Tuesday before Christmas is coming up, to give you guys something to think about. And you guys have got some great feedback already on it. I'm looking forward to trying to finish up a couple of these here too. So the suspect in these mysteries is usually the person who finds the body. I don't disagree. Yes, the butler is usually the one that does it.
Well, we're going as animals, just being animals in real life, not the Snoopy being like the cartoon version. Like Snoopy, like can't hold a gun, you know. It's a dog.
One too many missed meals. I just saw that from Maranya. Turning on. No, dogs are loyal. No way.
Yeah.
I don't see Charlie Brown as somebody that would beat dogs or have like, you know, the Mike Vick dog fighting pen and be having beagles fight. I just don't see it. Perhaps we couldn't rule that as a possibility in the sequel, which we won't talk about this year, but that's pretty creative. I like that. And also Maranya's point is very well taken, and it's something we were getting in here, is that Peppermint Patty has a hard crush on Charlie Brown, and Marcy's is much more so. Yes, that's true. But with Peppermint Patty, she seemed like she really, really liked being in Chuck's circle because of Chuck. And she just kind of hung out there like she was just basically saying, Chuck, I'm here. I'm ready. Whenever you want to take it, I'm ready for you. I don't care that I'm married. I'm still here for you. I saw you on our 20-year high school reunion. I'm still here for you. But, you know, I'm not going to be mad if you don't. I still love you, Chuck. Because that's just the vibe of her she is. So I'm trying to think, is that enough for a woman to kill? Because some women are just so chill like that. She's got that California kind of whatever vibe that I'm like, no, it's free love, kind of hippie-ish in a way.
Well, like you said, we don't know what Peppermint Patty went through for most of her life. We don't know if she's always been that kind of person as a kid where she can't take no for an answer.
Well, she was very good, if I recall, in their baseball. So maybe she played NCAA, like Division II softball or something.
Ooh. The new girlfriend of Charlie Brown replaces her on the team. So she's even not allowed to play. She's replaced.
Oh, maybe he is having an adult softball league. Yeah.
Yeah, with all of them, and she's like,
and
sorry.
Maybe Brown's new squeeze as the trainer.
My new girlfriend wants to play too. She wants to be, you know, so.
But Chuck, you're supposed to leave that spot for me. Chuck, I told you I'd be back and play. I know I'm late, Chuck, but why'd you give this spot up? I could see them having that conversation. Yeah, that's.
And Patty, and you can see Peppermint Patty coming on to Chuck, you know, while his girlfriend's away, and like exposing herself, like I want you. She's got the whole lingerie and all that stuff going, and even Chuck's just like, no, get out of here. I don't like you. You know, I can see her just mentally snap, leaving, and then coming back later, just killing him. I can't have Charlie Brown. No one can have Charlie Brown.
Yeah, we're Linus, you know, we talked about how he seems kind of not too bright or whatever like that. Peppermint Patty seems like somebody that could be like the mastermind of it all, like the long-term kind of point of view. Like, yeah, I'm going to kill you, Chuck. I'm just going to wait until our 20-year reunion. I'm going to make it all elaborate, and I'm going to involve several people, and it's going to be such an over-top spectacle. You're going to wish you had me on your softball team.
I could see that. I could see her being like the actual killer, and like I said, you got Lucy, who seems like the prime suspect. But maybe there's two things going on at the same time. Maybe Lucy and with Linus and then and all. There's two people trying to murder Charlie Brown, but only one succeeded, and the other one backed off. Like they're going to kill him, and then they found out he's dead. Mm-hmm. So then that person became the scapegoat.
All right, I think Violet is the last major character in A Charlie Brown Christmas. Not gonna lie, I haven't watched it yet.
We also got Sherman as well too.
Well, let's do Violet, and then we got to do Sherman, because Sherman's gonna be the tough one. We got to really focus on that. But Violet, I've never liked. Even when I was a kid, I wanted to punch her because she was that snob. She was that upper crust kind of girl that just, you know, was like whatever. I'm not gonna say she was intentionally a snob, but you know, it was definitely that. You know, she didn't want to get like her shoes dirty because, you know, they were nice shoes or something or whatever. So I'm trying not to let my emotional attachment to how much she seemed to really almost inadvertently put her nose down, you know, about everybody else, especially somebody like, say, Pigpen, who's obviously from the other side of the tracks is. And so I don't know. She was a talker. She ran her mouth a little bit, you know.
You remember she was pushed aside. She used to be in even the comic strips. Violet was always the up in front, and then they pushed her. She was originally a major character, and then they moved her and put her back to a background and cameo appearances. In general, I'll take that in aspect as far as Charlie Brown Christmas too. By this point, she's like, she finally, is able to get like, speaking role, a part in the play. But she generally hits everyone, especially Charlie Brown, because Charlie Brown's the director.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I can see her going, "I wanted to murder you, Chuck or Charlie, but just because you got that stupid dumb tree and it needed to be a 7-foot, Norwegian pine." What's that? What is she saying?
Marcy did it to impress Patty.
Yeah, there's definitely some potential love triangle, lesbian, three-way type potentials in here. We're trying to just profile the characters individually before we get into
it's a bitch.
No, it's true. And
I know.
They were the lesbian couple. And,
no, because
that's true.
Because Violet is a bitch, says Jim Sorrison.
Did I miss that?
You just did it now.
Oh, okay. No, she just Violet. When is ever the rich kid the killer? I don't want. I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong, but I'm just going. She doesn't seem like she's got the guts or the balls. Really the cojones to.
Well, like I said, rich kids
do it. You know what I'm saying?
We don't know what kind of killer it is. If it's an accidental kill, or intentional, or paid someone else to bump him off.
Yeah,
she wanted his property. She wanted Charlie Brown's property, but Charlie Brown wouldn't sell.
Well,
and she's a realtor. She owns all these different things now. Being the rich kid.
In this episode, Sally, I think, or Lucy was saying she never got real estate on her list because Sally was always wanting cash. So I'm wondering if it's like an all-girl, ring here that maybe they run this new town that's kind of run down because there's Section 8 housing and, she's like the slum lord and Charlie Brown refuses, like you say, to sell, for the big development of the, maybe the school's getting an add-on or something. I don't know. Well, it'd be a commercial business, I'm sure. Huh.
Yeah, she's a business conglomerate, what are we called?
Well, just because she's got resources and money, she's definitely suspect in my book. No doubt about it, too. Pretty face can't hide the fact that, she has the means to make things done where, like we say, we look at somebody desperate like a Linus who, again, obvious pill popper addict and all that, too, is probably living in the slums of Charlie Brown town.
Well,
so.
the other big thing is too, is that we don't know if it's a self-inflicted gunshot or how he already died.
No, there's no suicide. That's rule number 2. That's rule number 2. Rule number 1 was it's not Snoopy or Woodstock, not the pets, and it's not a suicide. Okay, we're not trying to be cute here. It's
well,
not.
I'm just saying, if it's not a suicide, what if it's made to look like a suicide?
That has merit. We haven't discussed that. Where to get back at Patty, Maranya says because Patty took Chuck away from Marcy and Marcy snapped. Marcy would frame Patty. Yes, but where does Violet fit in all this? She's the one that's got the resources that can make things disappear. I'm sure she probably's got a vote on the city council.
Maybe maybe Patty has dirt on Violet, or one of them has dirt.
Again, it dirt on Pigpen. All right. I think Franklin is the last character that we need to talk about from Charlie Brown Christmas, who's a potential murder suspect. Is he a red herring is the question, and I think that's the best question we've had tonight because
he was kind of quiet. He's a quiet person. He doesn't say much in the actual thing, and so, like I said, I can't know too much about him to actually rule him out as a suspect. I don't know what his motive would be, but then again, some people are just crazy.
Well, Sherman was. How do I say it? It's like, how when you see in these shows, especially the time travel ones, where they're looking at pictures and, oh my God, look at Extreme Show Rob back then when he was 25. He was a Greek god. Oh, who's that next to him? And then you go, look, oh, that was Sherman. Well, who's Sherman? And then you look at the photos like in today, and who's that in the background with the head just sticking out on the side? That's Sherman. Sherman was the guy that was always there but was never noticed.
Yes.
And he's a bad-looking dude. We don't really know anything about him. He's like, what's the not quite, and he's not quite an invisible man because he will talk, and it's not that he's not sociable, but he immediately hates Charlie Brown. We know that, but you don't believe it in the way he says it. He's like, God, I hate that Charlie Brown, and you're like, wow, are you really that jealous? Because he doesn't have that like violent anger on his face.
You notice that Charlie Brown is always like the leader of the group too. So like and Sherman just looks at me like he's a freaking idiot. Why didn't
he's the talented Mr. Ripley of the group. I'm telling you, he's the guy that can like assume somebody else's persona and just sort of be there. But like I said, when it comes to the 20-year reunion and everybody goes out there, everyone's like, okay, who's that guy? Was he in your class? I don't know. Is he in yours? And he's like, yeah, it was in your class. Remember we had 6th period together with this. Remember we did this in the club? And you're like,
yeah, he just come up to you.
Wow, that's a big blank there. I mean, that makes me think no way. And maybe he's a red herring because most of these stories do have a red herring. Yep. One that drags you away from everything else to draw it out, because if you go from A to B in 2 seconds, it's over. And I don't know. It's really, really tough. I don't know. And, we didn't really describe the crime scene. We didn't really get into the details of the actual murder itself, which is something we will have to do next year. Franklin robbed Charlie's house to get money for drugs. You saying Charlie was a grower? I see Charlie's either an altruist or, what's that one movie that had the Vietnam vet guy that was blind and it was in Detroit and the people went to go rob him and he trapped them in their house? I see Charlie Brown maybe be turning that way.
Was that your Rutger Hauer movie where he's a ninja?
Not Rutger Hauer. No, this was a couple years ago.
I don't know.
It was a good movie. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Brown Christmas Murder Whodunit. So tonight we wanted to profile the characters that showed up in a Charlie Brown Christmas special, I think from the mid-'60s. To kind of just basically put a social, psychological profile to them, because if we were ever to take something and make an adult murder mystery, it should be Charlie Brown. These characters are rich. We know them, or at least we think we know them. They all definitely have motives, and I think this is one way that the Charlie Brown franchise, assuming some company in the future gets a hold of the IP, can really screw it up and do it. But I'm suggesting an alternative version, and a version that you might want to call Xtreme, that would explain this. So right now, we just wanted to profile the main characters and their pluses and minuses, what might make them a murder suspect, maybe not. I think you guys had some really great ideas we didn't initially think off the top of our head. We were thinking of personality traits just based off certain things from this particular episode. We may have to take this a step further, and some of the other Charlie Browns as the years go on there too. Charlie Brown is Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. We debated doing It's a Wonderful Life something on here, Maranya, but we just wanted to kind of be extreme tonight.
It's
that's funny.
It's sad. I thought Franklin was the black character, and I had to look up to make sure, because like, who the fuck is Franklin? I'm like, I know that character. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's the diversity character.
In every photo, in the background of every photo from every single person, yet nobody really kind of knows him.
Ooh. With Franklin, I know he's on. I don't think he's involved in the Christmas Charlie Brown Christmas thing, but one of in later in life, Franklin was when Sally were a thing, an item, and he blames Charlie Brown for Sally dumping him.
Yeah, I think what we're going to have to do is start analyzing Charlie Brown a bit more and see what kind of man he was, because I think that might, tell us a bit, did he grow into be the alpha male, world's most dangerous man sort of thing, like he seemed like he had the genes for, or did he turn into a schlub? Because if he's a schlub.
I thought he turned into a YouTuber. His options on Saturday nights.
No, he wouldn't have any viewers. He'd have less than us. So. One day my Twitter account will get to 100 people.
Right?
No. Well, there you go, guys. We wanted to basically just be kind of lighthearted and talk about Charlie Brown Christmas. At least I did, because it's one of the best Christmas specials, I think, of all time. I know we talked about it last week, some of the ones that we liked to enjoy. We just wanted to be a little crazy, a little goofy and all that, because our schedule over the next few days is a little...
Wow. I wasn't gonna go that far, but
Wow, no, I think she didn't go far enough because I think there's a lot to do this. Because in Charlie Brown Town, there's riots in the streets.
yes. No,
Man, see, all it takes is a seed and a thought, and you can come up with something and say, let's sketch this out for 8 episodes. Netflix, I'm on board. I got the magic number. You give me a call. I will sell this to you. I will write it. I will direct it. I'll sublet some of that stuff out. I will get it done. Why? Because it's extreme. And that's what people want. They want an original variation on the theme. And really, some of the old classics that we used to talk about in terms of at least literature, murder mysteries, Sherlock Holmes, those kinds of things, they always have their own Christmas special. Everybody has their own little Christmas take. We talked about some horror movies last week and some other action movies. And I just thought, Charlie Brown is so wholesome. But that takes like 5 seconds to say, and I think most of us feel the same way too. But you know what? Reading the comments, RDV, I will say this. I'm really impressed with the group and their participation because they get it. They understood what tonight's topic was all about, and that was tremendous. That was like the best Christmas present I could have. Certainly no coal in our stockings or theirs. What say you?
Well, I say you. Even though these are all the suspects we're talking about, it can always be one of the other many minor characters that never make an appearance again. Like you said, there's so many of them. And if you go back to the comic strips, I'm just talking about, there's Peggy Jean. There is like a bunch of people. There's Joel Agate, who was a bully.
Oh, yeah.
He had backwards green cap. Tapioca Pudding, another blonde girl. Molly Volley.
Well, the idea is that if this one takes off, then the other ones could be, franchised out. So,
I mean,
where Fear of the Walking Dead, I still think was a better show overall than a regular Walking Dead. That would be like Snoopy's cousin, the one that had the mustache that lived in the desert. We could do a whole.
Oh my gosh! His whole family, siblings. He's got a bunch of them. These guys.
No, Franklin with Black Lives Matter takes the whole cake because you got to have somebody that's. What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh my gosh! You imagine
that's tremendous. I mean, how much more adult can you get than that?
Franklin and Black Lives Matter and Sally being an Antifa member.
I think there's more secret here than we can come up with right now.
Now, what town does this take place in? What city are they?
Town.
Are they in like Seattle, Portland over there? Are they in Chicago? Or I mean, like where is this located? What vicinity as far as you? Or is this a fictional land?
Well, I call it Charlie Brown Town, but in reality, I think the Charles Schultz Museum, I think he was in Santa Rosa, California, which is just north of San Francisco, in this beautiful, beautiful country.
So that makes sense. Charlie Brown
went through a lot, yeah.
So if this takes place during COVID, Charlie Brown was a non-masker. He refused to wear the mask.
I don't know, but we're gonna have to wait.
So we don't know if somebody killed him, if one of these Karens killed him or not.
Yeah, was the eggnog poisoned? That's good because we didn't really talk about the actual murder itself and all that. We were just wanting to profile and bullshit.
I mean, the kite down his throat, and he's stabbing him with the kite, and then he's eating the tree. That's the best comment of the night so far.
Well, if you guys enjoyed what we did, we wanted to try something a little avant-garde here. We may do something like this differently, but with a little bit more thought to it as far as an actual suspect, because I actually had the murderer in mind.
Ooh, I had one too, but it's from a different comic strip.
Yeah, well, the idea,
it was Garfield.
Thing. Yeah, but there you go, guys. Charlie Brown Christmas Murder. Hope you enjoyed it. A lot of fun participating. That's what.
You know who really murdered him, right?
Who?
ABC.
That's funny, but I'm not laughing. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah. No, I said Snoopy found the body, so hopefully Snoopy didn't lick the eggnog.
It makes sense that Snoopy would like bump him off, so it's not a Snoopy show.
No, dogs don't murder. You had it all wrong. Let them be during this time of trouble.
No one ever suspect a dog. He tripped him and he fell down the steps.
No, it's not going to be an accident. It's not going to be a time travel. We're not going to do forwards and backward time jumps. No.
Time travel? What?
No.
We're not.
Well, we did this as a show. I would not be doing that.
I would not be doing time travel with Snoopy. That'd be weird.
Yeah, well, he'd have to be that way if he were still alive as Charlie Brown was an adult. So
I
keeping that
I
down,
think
though, I didn't want to get into it too much.
I
All
think
right.
Charlie
No,
Brown just choked on a popcorn and died.
no. Next year,
Very curtain.
I will reveal the murder because I already have it down. It's right here on my. I don't know if you can hear this. My notes of a Charlie Brown Christmas murder that I was furiously writing as we were profiling. So I know that Pigpen is the whatever, and Sally is the whatever, and Linus is the whatever, because we got to have our notes to go back to. Yeah.
There was only one character that wasn't mentioned though. Was Frida.
Yeah, but I whatever. She's AWOL. We have to find her. She's got an APB on her. Okay. So, all right. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll start with RDV before tonight. As far as our schedule coming up for the next week, we've got several things coming up. I think, RDV, you want to take just a moment quickly and briefly talk about some of the shows that you record that might be coming out, or I don't know if you want to keep some of them a surprise.
As far as shows are coming out, we're still recording at Hellstrom, doing some more episodes of that. After that, Pixel and I, not sure what we're going to do next. I mean, we could go into talking about The Expanse. I think there's like 3 seasons out now, or 4 now. So depends on what the crowd wants as far as for that, and what we're really into. Like I said, there's a lot of shows we're finding out on Netflix. Afterlife is another one we're talking about doing. Jerky Gervais, great show. It's kind of dark. It's British humor. But yeah, so far there's 12 episodes, two series, 6 episodes each season. They call them series over there, but definitely on a great show. Talk about that. We've even mentioned talk about Rob wants to do Twin Peaks.
Pixel and I will probably be doing
Twin Peaks.
At some point.
But as far as other TV shows I've been looking at, I really want to get into watching some more Starsky and Hutch. Night Gallery is another one I want to do. Just finished watching Kojak. We could redo Kojak. It's 22 episodes though. We'd probably do bundling it up, doing 2 episodes per show. But or 3, or even 3 if you had to. But like I said, there's a lot of good shows out there. I mean, especially the ones in the past. We're not really looking at the ones that are coming out now, as more as we're looking towards the ones that are older. Like I said, there's a lot of cool shows like Nat Gallery, Kojak the Night Stalker, even Columbo. Kojak was another one. Magnum Pi, all that stuff. Just something that that's people have grown up, because we know our audience skews a little older. So if anything,
more views.
But the whole point of it is that we want to have fun too. Because if you guys have comments as far as what you want to see me either Pixel and I review as a TV series, or what Rob and Pixel are doing and I doing, as long as it's not freaking boring. That's all I gotta say. Because that's the one thing I dread about getting requests, is when someone requests something and it's just like watching paint dry. I don't mean to be rude, but there's just some shows I just cannot get into, and I'll just leave it up to Robin Pixel. But definitely.
There's a lot coming basically in the new year.
We're gonna be doing so. Well, obviously, when new shows come out, like Hellstrom was a big thing we previously want to get on, because it was a Marvel show that Marvel basically abandoned, and it's freaking Damien Hellstrom. Son of Satan comic. So just basically looking to see what's coming out as far as TV series. I'm not sure. I have to look, but obviously Cobra Kai season 3 coming out in January. We'll be reviewing that as it comes out, and I'm thinking we're going to do one at a time for that, because it's a lot to talk about each episode. And everybody wants to binge, talk about it, binge watch it, and just do a review and stuff. I think it's better if we just do as a group, watch it, and do it really in depth, kind of like a podcast. And that's kind of what Pixel and I try to do with Hellstrom. And same with The Mandalorian. We really try to delve in it. We had to spend like a half an hour talking about one episode, but it's great to go by scenes, and at the end just basically pick out stuff that we loved and what we hate.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll close with here too, before we say goodnight, is that obviously we appreciate you guys listening. If I don't talk to you and you guys between now and Christmas time or after that, obviously have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever the hell you guys call it. Or don't celebrate, whatever. Have a good time off, whether you're off or working or not. Obviously, we've produced a lot more content recently, thanks to Pixel and RDV joining in. So I always appreciate that. And the thing I appreciate the most, besides you guys listening, is of course as a small channel, spreading the word around to people that may be interested. I understand that a lot of our core audience came over from Anglin from I Love Comics, where, hey, this is kind of cool. It's a side thing, but really the movie thing was actually a very big, part of E and I's childhood growing up. So despite the fact we do different shows on different days with different things, the basis of it's still there. And you guys getting the word out, tweeting about it. If you guys know other people that would have me come in as a host, review something, and it's somebody you respect and trust, I know there's a lot of people out there you guys don't care about, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that. I plan on reaching out to a few other people's shows that aren't related to this but do movies to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit more too. We're getting close to being monetized, and we've been experimenting with different things, obviously, to see what sticks and what doesn't. And right now we really like having a core group. We think that that's great and we enjoy it. So sometimes the question is not what content to do, but what content does our fans want to do, and you guys all know that you've been around the block a lot longer than I have too. So with that, I'll shut up, say good night, Merry Christmas. RDV, thanks for showing up tonight. You guys have a good one. Take care, and as always, stay.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa.
P.S. Lou Rawls, favorite Christmas guy I like to listen to music-wise. Maybe we'll talk about that later, or after Christmas or right before. But yeah, Lou Rawls. I'll be sending out some.
I thought you were gonna see Leroy Jenkins.
Nah, yeah, no. All right,
Okay.
Good night, everybody.